This is my sports injuries rehabilitation program. Okay, so for rehab program 1, I have an athlete named Toby Hawkins. His sport is football. He plays the position of right back. He plays at a professional level, and the injury that he picked up was a dislocated shoulder. This has the estimated recovery time of 4 to 6 months. So a bit of an overview. During an FA Cup tie between Arsenal and West Ham, a long diagonal ball was played towards Toby's area. The West Ham striker backed up into him to attempt to box Toby away from the ball. As the ball came down, Toby jumped, but the West Ham striker did not, and Toby flipped over the top of him and landed on his shoulder hard, causing it to dislocate. Okay, so that kind of injury, like I just said, would cause an estimated 4 to 6 months recovery time. So as you can see here, I've planned out a weekly stages that will go along to week 26. This would be split up into exactly 6 months, and they will all be in different stages. So stage 1 is the acute stage. This would last for about 1 to 2 weeks, and then the second stage is functional movement. This lasts a bit longer. It lasts for about 5 weeks. Then stage 3 is a strengthening phase. This lasts about 5 to 6 weeks, and then the last phase is sport specific. This is getting back into sport, getting back into playing the sport, getting back into like sport scenarios. So this lasts for the rest of the time. So the goals for these individual phases. So the acute phase, the main goal is to reduce the pain and inflammation. So that's just to get the pain and soreness out the injured shoulder. The second phase, the functional movement phase, is introduction proprioception. So this is like stretches, getting the injury moving again, getting it back into its functional, getting it back functioning properly. The third phase, the strengthening phase, would be like body weight and weight exercises, getting back that resistance on the, building up the muscle around the injury, making sure it's nice and strong. And then the sports specific, the final phase, would be skill specific sports training. So using that shoulder again in sports scenarios, so running for the ball, tackling, stuff like that, holding people off shoulder barges, stuff like that. Okay, so now moving on to the training focus, which is the real main bit. So the training focus will be, so for the acute phase, the first phase, will be pure rest until all the pain and swelling has gone. So that will be no exercise, no nothing, just sitting there, icing it, resting it, keeping it elevated, stuff like that. For the functional movement phase, there's 2 separate parts to this, but they kind of link together. So it will be light static stretches to improve the range of movement, and then dynamic ballistic stretches. So this is just to get it moving, get it moving again. So examples of these exercises would be with the functional movement. So an example of the exercise will be pull across stretch. So this will be done, as you can see, pull across stretch is the example here in the first photo, so number 1. This is where you pull your arm across nicely like that. Okay, so for that, to increase this and to make it more harder, so you could be increasing the length of the stretch, increasing the tension on the arm, but if it's too difficult, then you could decrease the tension or decrease the time of stretch. The second one is the band pull-out stretch. So this is shown in picture number 2. This is where you pull the band away, stretching out those shoulders. So to improve this exercise, you can increase the reps or increase the band tension. If it's too hard, then you can decrease the reps or decrease the band tension. This should be done for about 10 reps, 3 sets, 30 seconds in between, something like that, something around like that. Okay, so the next training focus phase will be the strengthening and strengthening exercises. So this is split up into 3 things, but it all comes really down to the one thing. So this is body weights, which is just using no weights, just using your body weight, obviously. And then weight exercise, so like dumbbells, barbells, stuff like that. And then loaded eccentric. So this is where you're like putting the strain on it, but lengthening the muscle, getting that nice strain on it. Yeah, so this is in phase 3. So the kind of exercises that could be done is the first exercise is the military press, and this is shown in the first photo here, so just raising the dumbbell above your, the barbell above your head. To improve this exercise, if it's too easy, you could add weights and increase reps, but if this exercise is getting too hard, then you could decrease the reps, or do it standing up so you can use a bit of momentum in the legs. This should be done for about 15 reps, 3 sets, 30 seconds rest in between, something around like that. The next exercise is the press up. So this is shown in the second example photo, and you can see all the different variations I'm about to go through. So if the press up is too easy, you can do a decline press up, which is where you have your feet level up, as I just showed you in the photo, and you're pushing down. If then that's too easy as well, you can increase the reps. If it's then too hard, you can do an incline press up, which is where you're leaning up on something so your body's more upright, as shown in the photos just before. But then if it's still too hard, then you can decrease the reps. This should be done for something like 25 reps, 3 sets, and then 1 minute rest in between. The third exercise is the cross band pull. So this is shown in the third photo there. This is all about working that back and that shoulder. If this exercise is too easy, you can increase the reps or increase the tension. But then if it's too difficult on the shoulder, too much strain, then you could either decrease the tension or decrease the reps. This should be done for about 15 reps and then about 5 sets with 30 seconds rest in between, as it's not too hard of an exercise. The final exercise is the forward band pull. So this is shown in photo number 4 there, as you can see. If this exercise is too difficult, you could increase the reps that you are doing, or increase the tension of the band. However, if this exercise is causing too much strain or is too hard, then you can obviously decrease the tension of the band or decrease the reps you're doing. So the overall exercise should have about, again, 15 reps, 5 sets with 30 seconds rest in between, much like the across band pull. Okay, then finally moving on to stage 4, which is the sport-specific training. This is again split up into three different types. So this will be introducing like lateral movement and fast movement in the arms, so like quick movements, quick change of direction, getting that shoulder working again. The second one is introducing speed drills and change of direction, so running, sprinting with that arm, moving, really powerful movements, change of directions, dropping that shoulder, making sure it's okay to move like that. And then the third is replicating sport-specific drills into training, so this is like passing, going up, jumping for the ball, heading for it, holding off people with that arm, making sure that shoulder's nice and strong. Okay, so this is in phase 4. So there's only 2 exercises for this. The first one is suicides, and this is, the example shown is picture number 1 in the, here. So picture number 1, suicides. As you can see, it's just running. Yeah, so suicide is just basically running back and forward. So if this exercise is too easy, you can increase the reps you run back and forward, or you can even increase the distance that you are running. If this exercise is actually too hard, then you could decrease the reps or have a smaller distance for the for Toby to run. The amount of reps and sets should be about 10 reps, and then like 3 sets with 2 minutes rest in between, just getting them working back that fitness. And then the second example is a vertical jump. So this is shown, as you can see in the second photo down here. So you bend your legs, jump up as high as you can vertically. If this exercise is too easy, you could aim to beat the previous score, set a target, make it competitive, make it more interesting. Or if that's still too easy, then you could do it one-legged, really working on that leg, really swinging those arms, working that shoulder well, making sure that shoulder's nice and strong. If this is too hard, then you can do it jumping onto a platform, so you're not jumping as high as you can, but you're jumping onto something, so still getting that height. Or if that's still too hard, then you could aim for shorter heights, so just do it slowly, less movement in that shoulder if that's what the pain's causing. So this should be done for about 5 reps, 3 sets with 1 minute rest in between. It's all about having that confidence in moving that arm well. So that's what these exercises are all about. And under all these training focus, you can see the review. Now the review, as you can see, some areas are highlighted yellow. These are the stages where you're going to review the exercise you have conducted in that time. So, for example, the functional movements, it would be all the stretches and stuff, as done in phase 2. So yeah, you would look at those, see how well you've improved it, maybe test yourself in it, try and say for the strengthening exercise, you could increase the weight, see how much you can max rep, stuff like that. It's all about reviewing whether you can move on to the next stage, if your shoulder's healed enough and functioning enough to be able to move on to the next stage. Yeah, so the next, as you can see just below that, it's there's an example of the repairing stage. So you can see there's the inflammation, repair, and remodeling stage. So the inflammation phase is obviously the shortest, and then you've got the repair phase, which is just getting it back to normal, and then remodeling, which lasts the whole time. So the whole time you're there. So that's just like the scar tissue reforming, stuff like that. Moving on, so there's types of therapies and stuff you can do which will help the injury.